Welcome back to this session. In this session, we are going to be looking at overflow and Z index in CSS. Now, let's start with overflow. When we talk about overflow is just a property, one of the properties in CSS that is used to control the content of an element when its overflow is contained. That means when it cannot contain in its container, when it's need to flow outside of the container, then how do you control its behavior? And you can set it to any of these four properties. You can either set it to visible or hidden or scroll or auto. So when you set it to visible, the overflow is not clipped, it's rendered outside the element box. This is the default behavior. So but when you set to hidden, the overflow will clip and the rest of the content will not be visible. Of course, we're going to see all this in action. But when you set it to scroll, the overflow is clipped, it is visible, and the scroll bar will be added so that when you need to see the rest of the content, you can just use the scroll bar to move and you see the remaining content. And when you have auto, it is similar to the scroll, but it's just that it's only show the scroll bar only when it's necessary. When there's need for you to scroll and when it's overflow, then it will not show by default, but when you need to scroll, it's going to pop up. So let's see it in action by just creating a div to be our container. So let's just attach a class of container to this. Set a class of container to this. So we are going to have some long text. Let's just do lorem. I want us to have a massive text, so let's do lorem 200. Very massive. So we see that we have a good number of text here. So if we come here, so let's set a container for the text so that the text will be contained in a container. So let's say dot container, and let's give it a, so that we'll see it in action. Let's first give it a background color so that you see. So let's set it to a width. Let it not take the width of the body. Let's set it to a width of 200 pixels so that it will be contained. Okay, you can see that it's contained now. It's because the text is inside the container, so it seems to be contained in the width of this container that we have set. So we set the width to 200 pixels. So let's also set the height so that the height will also not take the entire height of the body. Let's set the height to 200 pixels. Now you can see now that this is our container. Yeah, the remaining texts, they are called overflow. So what do we do with the overflow? Should we hide it? If we go with the four options, let's start with visible. Okay, let's hide it first. So overflow, what happened to the text that overflow? Let's say it's hidden. So meaning that it's only take what this container can take. The remaining overflow elements will not be seen. You can see that we cannot even scroll to it. But now let's say we want to be hidden, but at the same time, when the user need to scroll, they will be able to scroll. You can see now that with scroll, you can see that you know that this is the container, but you still have some element that overflow. For you to see those elements, you need to scroll. You can see. So, and of course, you can also set it to auto, which is the most preferable option. So you save it, and when it need to add overflow, you see that before we have overflow here, but it's not there again. Now it only show when it is necessary, only when it's necessary. So of course we also have overflow Y if you want to have unique for the Y axis, or for the vertical axis. You can also have overflow X for the horizontal axis. So let's just comment this out. So the same property, visible, hidden, scroll, hide, that is what you can set for this. So that is overflow. Now considering Z index, now I want us to comment this out so that we can see our Z index in action. Now Z index is just used to specify the stack order of an element, with the element with the higher stack appearing on top. So sometimes you want some element to be on top of each other. So how do you assign the one that will take the higher preference, that means the one that will appear on top, compared to the one that will appear under? So that is Z index. So the Z index is used to specify which element appear on top, when they need to stack on each other, when they need to be on top of each other, which one should be on top, which one should be below, and which one should the arrangement order. So let's see that in action by just saying we have two boxes. Let's say we have two boxes, and this is my first box, and I have another box. This is my second box. So of course I'm going to assign a class so that we use the class to style it. I'll assign a class of box1 to this, and copy the same thing. I will make this to be class of box2. So what I'll then do is I'll come here. Don't forget that this CSS file I'm writing has been linked with this HTML file with this link rel. So I am just going to come here, and let's make the box1 and box2 to be visible first. Let's make the box1 and box2 to be visible. So all I just need to do is I'll give it a background color. I'll give it a background color of maybe red, and this will be box2. I'll give this a background color of blue, so that we see two boxes. Now let's refresh. So we can see that we have our two boxes. To make it more practical, let's set the width and the height. The width 100 pixel, the height also 100 pixel, so that we see things in action. So I just duplicate this, put it here, save it. Now you can see that we have the two boxes. Because they are block elements, so they are not on the same line. So let's make them to be on top of each other. So how do we do that? Let's first set the position to be relative. Position to be relative. Sorry, not relative, absolute. So with this absolute, that will now make me to be able to come here and say my top to set the top. That means 0 pixel from the top, and maybe to the left. Also, I want it to be 0 pixel. That means 0 pixel from the left. So if I save that, you can see now it's on top now. So I'll do the same thing for the second box. So but the only thing is just that I'll make the top here. Don't forget that the height of the element is 100 pixels. So I want it to overlap that first box by just 50 pixels. So I'll just say from the top, instead of it to be 0 pixel, then be 50 pixel. And also from the left, I want it to be 50 pixel also from the left. Now you can see that they are on top of each other now. Box 2 is on top of box 1. Now let's say I want top box 2 to come up to be above box 2. Then all I just need to do is just come here, assign the Z index, and I make it to be maybe 2. If I make it to be 2, you can see that it's on top now. So that means the Z index of this is 1. Should nothing change. So if I change this to 10, and I make this one to be 11, the highest one take the preeminence. So the highest one will always be on top. So if you are not sure of how many elements will be under, then it's always advisable to give this a very big number. You can take maybe Z index 50. So that will make it to be above. So that's about Z index.